I've always been a realist about Kojima. I'm not a Kojima fanboy. I like the games Kojima have made, but I'm also aware that Kojima has made a lot of fucking mistakes. So I'm not a Kojima fanboy. I came with low expectations, and they still managed to disappoint me. That is the most annoying part, that I was not waiting for the game of the fucking century. I was waiting for a good game, and what I got was just a good, decent game. It's not even fucking amazing, it's just good. Well, I mean, I was expecting them to deliver a good game, and they deliver a good game. But you know, the problem is that the good game should have been way better. Even with low expectations, they managed to disappoint me, and that is... Oh, that is sad. That is so sad. I'm sorry, all my Death Stranding streams always end up with me being salty about the game. I'm sorry. It's always the same. It's been the same for the past... What? What was that noise? I was hitting like a fucking black hole or something. It's been like that for like the past 4 streams probably of Death Stranding. Well, the past streams since I finished the game. I've been super salty because of how poorly written. Not only poorly written, is also how poorly structured it is. For example, let's put an example of a game that is not exactly the same, but is kind of similar in how it's not only made but also played. The Long Dark. And The Long Dark, let's remember that The Long Dark is actually a real indie game, is not an independent AAA game like The Stranding. It's independent, but it's a triple fucking A game. It's not an indie, it's a AAA. The Long Dark started, as far as I know, as a survival indie game that then got a story mode. And I have to say that the story mode of The Long Dark is really good. I actually enjoyed The Long Dark more since it has the story mode, because the survival aspect was nice, but having actual objectives other than just survive, it actually feels nice. The story is well written, the story is well structured. Even though I hate episodic games, The Long Dark is a really nice episodic game. I feel exactly the opposite with Death Stranding. I feel that the game is poorly structured, I feel that the game is poorly written, and I feel that the game would be better as a survival game without the story. Because as much as I love the story, it's so disappointingly wasted that I feel that it would be better without it. If the game was just Sam running from one place to another on an arcade style, and it was just like a roguelite, because that's the thing, especially with the roguelites and like, but especially the lights. The roguelites game, when you die, you conserve some things. That is innovative. Well, it's kind of innovative because I think Oregon Trail, which is a 70s game, I think Oregon Trail was the first roguelite or roguelike game registered in history. But let's say that it's innovative, because not a lot of games have that mechanic of you die but you keep some things that you can use later on. But Death Stranding as an arcade with roguelike mechanics would be way better than what Death Stranding it is right now. For example, the signals. There is way too many markers everywhere. Most of the time I deactivate the markers because they are just annoying. They are just in the way. They are not helpful most of the time. And they were not helpful while I was playing the campaign. In fact, sometimes they were even spoilery. Sometimes they spoil the game. So I turned them off. And now that I finished the campaign, that I'm doing 100%, I can really say that the markers on the way are not helpful at all. They are just annoying. For example, and you will see it on the next map, the markers can give you a boost on the vehicles. People usually put the markers on the roads right before a fucking turn, which means that your vehicle accelerates without you wanting it to accelerate, because you're just stepping on a marker that is on a road, and you cannot avoid the marker, and you step on the marker right before getting the turn, and you are launched out of the road because some asshole thought it would be nice to have a fucking turbo right before a turn. Again, maybe it's my experience. Maybe I just had a really bad experience with other players being fucking dickheads. Maybe all the other players of the Stranding out there had a fucking great time. I mostly didn't. I love the game, I love the story, I enjoy a lot of things about it, but there is also a lot of bad things. And one of the main bad things about this game is the marketing. How the game was sold, how the game was said it was going to be, but then it wasn't. That's why I want to listen to Welcome to Night Vale while I'm playing, because it will be a way for me to not be salty about the game, because I will be focusing on something else. Because if I'm actually focusing on the game, I will focus on, okay, I have to say this, and this on the review, and I will probably be super salty about it. I really hope the people at Nightbell see my tweet and give me permission to listen to the podcast while I'm playing. And when I say listen to the podcast, I mean listen to the podcast with you. To listen to the podcast in the stream, not listen to the podcast on my own, because I could be listening to the podcast right now. So I would focus on the podcast, but you wouldn't be listening to it, and it wouldn't be the same. It would be like if I had music playing and you weren't able to listen it. Hesitant Clara? No, not a bad name, not a bad name. A cool thing that the game has is that the more you walk and the more you deliver and the more weight you carry and all that, the more your abilities develop. So the easier it is. For example, what I just did right there, running downhill on the beginning of the game, will have been impossible. I will have probably tumbled down the hill instead of running through it. But the more you play, the more you level up, the easier it is to walk. Not only because you get used to it, to the balance mechanics, but also because the game actually makes it easier for you. Let me check the corpses again. Even though they probably will not have nothing different. Let's see if something changed, which I doubt. Can I see if it is going to rain in the next 30 minutes? No, it doesn't seem like it is going to rain. I mean, there is a corpse, but it would be nice to see the actual prediction of the corpse is going to make it rain. That sounds weird phrasing it like that. The corpse is going to spawn a BT and it will rain in 30 minutes, so get ready. Because it's supposed to rain as soon as a BT spawns. Also, I need to change my shoes at some point because I'm running low on the shoes. The shoes are really fucked up. There is a cutscene. I don't know if I can call it 100% without actually getting a cutscene that I never got because I take a lot of care of my character and I never got the cutscene because I am not your average stupid player, I guess. I know it's insulting, but I'm just playing normally and I know of people that got the cutscene, but it's like, it's completely avoidable. You can completely avoid that cutscene. You don't have to get it. And the cutscene is Sam ripping one of his toenails off on the shower because he has been walking shoeless for a long time. If you walk without shoes for a long time, his feet actually start bleeding and you start leaving footprints, and he has to rip one of his nails off on the shower. And it's like, first, I always have a spare pair of boots. If I don't have it, I steal them from the mules, because you can actually get boots, not really from the corpse, but they have boots laying around or in the lockers. And then there is another thing called sandal plant or something like that. They are plants that you can use to make sandals, so you don't have to be shoeless. You always can have something on your shoes, on your feet, as shoes, or at least an improvised sandal. So I have never seen that cutscene, but apparently it's something a lot of players have seen, and it's like, why? It's like absurdly avoidable. It's like really easy to miss that cutscene. It's not common. It's not like shoes are super expensive to make. In fact, they are probably the cheapest item on the game to make. So how have so many players seen that cutscene? Is it because they don't pay attention to the state of their shoes? Is it because they don't give a flying fuck about the state of their shoes? Why? I don't know. It's baffling to me sometimes. Again, I'm aware that not all the players play like me, but the amount of players that have seen that cutscene by accident, not like wanting to watch it, because if I want to watch it, I will trigger it. I could do it right now if I wanted to. I could walk downhill shoeless and see that cutscene as soon as I reach Port Knot City. But I don't know, I just find it interesting to see how many players have seen that cutscene and they are like, no, he's ripping his toenail off, and it's like, first, we saw that on the trailer. In fact, I find even more interesting that they made emphasis on that on multiple of the trailers. To be honest, I think it's on 2 or 3 of the trailers is that cutscene. And how hard it is to actually get that cutscene to trigger. Because most of the time, I would say that you have to look for that cutscene to trigger it on purpose. And then, if the shoes were super expensive, or if the shoes were something that breaks super easily, which they are not, but let's say that the shoes were something that breaks super easily, and that a pair of shoes wouldn't last a couple of missions, I would understand that cutscene, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm just rambling again. I'm just rambling about